Friends, what a glorious day it is to be an investor that's already been in the market, already made positions in the market, and I think everyone is having a fantastic day in the market. Let's talk about it. What's going on? Boy, this Goldilocks fairy tale story that I've been talking about here might be coming true because we're starting to see some very big breadcrumbs being picked up here. So let's talk about it, friends. I hope you're well. It is Friday, the end of the day. We've had a crazy week in the market. Obviously, this whole week in the market has just been like a wait and see what Jerome Powell's going to say today. Sell off, people either pushed into the market this week or they went, I don't want to do this. Either way, I get it 100%, but obviously now things are banging, booming. S&P hit all new highs again today. So Jay Bird here gave his speech today, one of his pretty much his last big, hey, who I am, this is what's going on speeches. And he hinted strongly at rate cuts, that essentially they're coming here in September. At least one, don't know how many. I mean, he didn't blatantly say, hey, we're going to do rate cuts in September, October, and December. He pretty much just gave strong indication with, word salad here, very big words that the government uses, that they are looking at rate cuts starting here in September. I mean, he didn't exactly say hey, I mean, it was code. It was essentially hey, if you look around the corner, I hid some cookies there. That's kind of what he was saying here. So Jay Bird looks like he's going to go out with rate cuts here. Okay, so this is obviously going to drive up the market tremendously. This is where this 7,000 S&P 500 point range is looking more attainable every day, getting, by the end of the year, which a lot of people are saying it's going there. Now, Tom Lee gave an interview today after Jerome talked here, and Tom Lee said, they blatantly asked Tom Lee, they said, what do you think the market's going to do now? And he said, I think it's going to run like we've never seen. I think it's going to go to, Tom Lee's the one putting this out there that, the S&P 500 is going to 7,000 points by the end of the year. And he was more than ever pushing that theme, that topic, that where he thinks this is all going and leading to. And obviously tech stocks having a lot to do with that, small cap stocks having a lot to do with that. And we are about to really push into some even more aggressive numbers in the market. So this could just be the start of some really, I don't even know what next year holds for the market. I just don't know. We've had so much of a push right now. I think, my God, look at the last 10 years in the market. I mean, what we've already had here just in this, 8-month period with the market. I mean, this is stuff that takes years for the market sometime to do. If you're new to the stock market, you are living in a bull market right now. So this is from what we know, it's a very unusual, aggressive market right now. But this is the way it is, and this one reason why Tom Lee is saying he's really speculating that the S&P 500 is going to go to 7,000 point range here by December, is that we're about to have a whole nother round, a third round of quarterlies here with a lot of these stocks that are in the S&P that have been pushing it, and they're going to continue to just bring out crazy quarterlies, just enough to keep pushing the mountain up here. And then we still got Q4s to round out the year here that will obviously be coming in December, February of 2026, but will nonetheless push more into the market. So, we might just be, in second gear here. We've still got third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, long way to go here into next year. It's very interesting. This is a moment for any investor, no matter where you're at with certain stocks, like you're bearish or bullish, wherever you're at. This is a very interesting place for every investor right now. That's why, if you're in the market, I think a lot of investors are probably obsessed with what's going on right now, because it's just a very interesting new place we have not really seen in the market. It's not supposed to be happening. That's what's kind of special about this too. It's the bears were very much like we're going to be in a recession. My God, 6 months ago, people were saying 8 months ago, 6 months ago, people were saying we're going to be in a recession, all this bad stuff. And I think everybody still has that buddy that's still waiting to buy into the market. He's been here since 2020. He's like, okay, when the market drops, I'm going to push everything in. It's okay, well, you've had opportunities. You had, Tuesday, but you didn't do it. So, friends, let's keep talking here. Soundhound still holding this $12 position really well. I think Soundhound's going to continue to do well here because it's coming off that last quarterly that just blew expectation out of the water. I mean, just crazy. Obviously, S&P 500, it's going to 6,500 points here very soon. Whoa, mama jama. And then Open Door. Open Door's running, man. I'm started talking about Open Door on my second channel. I may start talking about more on this channel, see, how much more push it gets here. This is a stock that I just, knew it was going to start running hard here because of all the stuff that was going on with it. Is a very interesting situation, what's going on with that stock, with that company. Obviously, CEO situation is looking for one now. But, I think Open Door technology, just on hype and where it's at right now, could easily push into more aggressively into this $5-6 range. Obviously, with a new CEO, that could be anytime. Even more, aggressive pushing could come with that stock. So it's a very interesting situation what's going on over there. It's not like it's a terrible situation. I mean, and I say this because I know a lot of people are like, it's a meme stock, it's a hype stock. Okay. What is your number one goal in the market as an investor? To make money. Who cares what it is? I don't care if they sell boxes of poop. Maybe they're going to make money. The stock's going to make money. Now, obviously, I like to invest in companies that are making great quarterlies, making great money. But too, when I do see a meme stock, a hype play, I'll push into it. Of course, I know what's going on here. It doesn't mean the company or stock's bad. It just means this is the way it is right now. This is how it's moving. Okay, great. Play it however you want to play it. But hopefully that finds everyone on, easy ears. I don't know. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm really not. I'm very much a fan of what's going on over there. So obviously, like I said, S&P going to 7,000. Sofi doing unbelievable numbers. Hit another high today. I'm gonna talk about that on second channel. Dan Ives, Palantir going. Dan Ives gave another interview here. He still believes Palantir is just in this very beginning stages of where it's going, that this is not going to stop. It's going to get a lot more aggressive. Even Tom Lee talking about tech stocks, that the tech stocks are going to be this new generation of just forming this new market into the next decade that we will be reaping the benefits from, that our sons and daughters will just kind of, this will be this pillar that is being built into this market right now with a lot of these tech stocks. These are going to be long lasting, spots in our portfolios for the next, however long you hold the stocks, to make wealth, hold wealth, whatever you're doing with it. So, I mean, I'm obviously talking about Palantir, Nvidia, Tesla, all the Microsoft, it goes down the road here, but they're all still moving. And what's so interesting about this time is like, it's not just the new tech stocks. It's not just the new ones. Palantir, I think everyone thinks like, well, Palantir's a new tech stock. Well, yeah, but there's other tech stocks too that have been here, for God's sakes, and they're doing unbelievable numbers. They're spending unbelievable amounts of money right now to push into their bread and butter technology, software, whatever they sell, chips, who knows. We're still seeing these companies really break into new revenue. It's like, where is this money coming from? So this is why I don't know that anyone's really going to lose with tech over the next 5 years. That's what's so interesting right now. I mean, if you can put $5 in Apple, for God's sakes, it's better than a savings account at this point. Friends, let's dig into Palantir. I want to talk about Palantir right now. Okay, so Palantir today went back up into, we'll just say, this 160 zone. So this was fantastic to see Palantir get back to this. I mean, I think not to like toot my own horn here, but it's not like you have to be a rocket scientist to see what's going on with Palantir here. Today, Palantir broke back in, like I said, to this 160 zone. Okay, good, great. Now the situation is, and we knew it was going to go to that. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is the new playground right now. This week we hit low 140s. That may have been the bottom for Palantir. That may have been it. there's not too much, from what we can tell right now, there's not a lot of trouble ahead of us. That's what's so interesting right now with this market. A lot of the things that we're starting to see play out in this market are simply like, hey, looks like we're getting a rate cut here in September, possibly more by the end of the year. Can we get this Ukraine-Russian situation wrapped up? It's kind of been quiet over there this week. We'll see, this in the later part of this week, we'll see what happens this next week. Can that be wrapped up? Can there be world peace? Who knows? And two, then around the corner, if all of that stuff can happen and be sealed up, then for God's sakes, we're going into Q3s are going to be here before we know it. We're going to be dressing our kids up in, elf costumes for Halloween and, little monsters. And we're going to be watching the Q3s come out here with all our favorite companies. So, this is a very real situation that we all could be going through together, where we're just going to be seeing gains like, oh my God. I think people get upset, sometimes I read comments, people are like, you're just way too excited about this market. I can't trust you because you're just too enthusiastic. Friends, listen, if you were listening to me during 2020 to 2024, that Dylan was not so enthusiastic about the market. Let me tell you, there were things I was enthusiastic with the market, but this Dylan is a whole new Dylan with money because I'm so excited about the market, where it's going, what's happening. It's so easy, for God's sakes, to make positions in companies right now and watch your portfolio grow. I mean, you literally have a president, and I'm not, so if you're against Trump, I'm not in here promoting him. I'm just saying, as investors, being detectives of where we need to look at for investments. The guy is telling you where to put your money. Security, defense, technology. We're getting rate cuts. Bank stocks are about to go through the roof. People aren't going to be buying bonds. Crypto is going to be going crazy. I don't know how to make it any more simpler, easier for people. So this is why I'm so just pumped about this market. I mean, my God, if the S&P 500 goes to 7,000 points here with just a few measly months away, do you know what that is going to do? Do you know what that's going to do? You're going to see people take retirement. You're going to see people, things are going to happen in this market, in this world. It's going to be very interesting. Now, obviously, yeah, there's going to be tidal waves. We're going to wake up to some rainy days in the market. Obviously, this week was one. This is why this week I've been blabbing my mouth about like, hey, I would buy. Hey, I would make this moment last. Hey. I mean, I was even talking to a friend this week, like, and of course this friends, I get it. Not everyone is like stupidly obsessed with the market like I am. I get it. Okay. I realize I have a problem, man. That's why I have 2 YouTube channels where I can't shut up about it. But, I talking to this friend, like, I'm like, dude, the market has pushed back a little bit here, because this friend's always talking to me about like, where should I put money? What should I do? And then but the last 2 weeks before this week, I was telling him like, the market's a little hot right now. I know you don't want to buy these high positions. I maybe, just wait. So this week I was talking to this friend and they were like, I don't know. I think the market's going to continue to go down. What if they don't do rate cuts? I was like, I'm pretty sure they're going to do rate cuts. I'm pretty sure. Jerome is up against the wall right now. And still, this friend did not move on these positions. I didn't move on these prices. And now, I mean, I'm like, okay. So, fear is a terrible situation to have in the market. And I get it. There was a long time where I had fear in the market. I still have fear with things, obviously. But, fear can cripple you in the market 100%. I know what it's like to be burned in the market, and sometimes when people get burned in the market, they're like, I can't do it. I can't push more into the market. Oh my gosh. I think right now, friends, Palantir, and I know I talk about Palantir a lot, but I think Palantir, from what we can tell here, is moving in all the right directions. When Q3 comes out here with Palantir later this year, we are going to more than likely see pre-Q3 numbers around the stock price obviously go back to where we're at that point, go back easily to 170, 180, probably more than likely 190 at least at that point. And this is obviously depending on, we still have two solid months before this, of just, hey, Palantir could just get another deal. Hey, they could just get another partnership. Hey, something crazy could happen. It's crazy good. It's been good news. Why would it not continue to be good news? And when we get Q3 out here, it's solid. It's a good quarterly. Maybe it's another 48% quarterly on top of, the Q1 maybe, or maybe even this one. It beats this quarterly by another 48 or 50%, then that's going to be insane. We're going to be well into the $1 billion quarterlies. Question is, how big a quarterly can we produce out of Q3 to lead into Q4 to wrap up the year for 2025 with revenue? This is why there's a very entertaining conversation right now about Palantir by Q4 going around into January, February of 2026 here, which is like around the corner, where Palantir could be at $200 to $250. Okay. I get evaluation doesn't match with the stock price, market cap. I get that. So for the person in here writing the long comment about that and how I'm a moron, I need to do simple math, I hear you, bud. I hear you. I really do. But the problem with this too is that you're buying the hype. You're buying the what if. You're buying the neighbor that's telling you they're not buying Palantir because it's too high and it's a fool's dream and it's just overpriced. But really that neighbor is buying it. This is what they're not telling you because they don't want to miss out. So when we see Palantir sell off, we're going to see Palantir be bought back up. Today was a beautiful picture of that happening. We saw Palantir aggressively shoot back up. My God, if you had bought Palantir 48 hours ago with a nice chunk of change, you were swimming in money today, okay? Big money move, big money play there. So, this is why I can't stress enough how much of a moment this is in the market right now. It's really interesting. Looking at the candlestick chart with Palantir, look at this beautiful give and take pattern of it. Obviously, that big push up right there is in the quarterly, when the quarterly came out here, and obviously we've had a huge sell-off. The market's been waiting. Hey, what's going on with rate cuts? Hey, what's going on with, tariffs more? Hey, what's going on with this Russia-Ukraine situation? And then today, one of the biggest things the market was concerned about, we were told, actually, it's going to work out, it looks like. So, this is a fundamental moment in, the history of the stock market. I think this is just this is like, maybe this is just like quarter one, like football has 4 quarters. Like maybe this is just we wrapped up the first one and maybe now we're going into number 2 here. Maybe that's what we're about to do here because it still looks like there's a lot of growth coming here nonetheless. And friends, I just want to talk about BigBear. I want you to know I have not forgot about BigBear. I still think, obviously BigBear is still being watched. People are still buying BigBear. I really do think BigBear is going to start coming up in the theme of the market more here. I think BigBear is going to have another push here. What BigBear is involved in with its technology, with its, the majority of its business, for God's sakes, with the United States government, it's going to start up again. I believe as long as today was kind of proof. We got the green light on the market, and I think BigBear is going to start following a lot of the trends in the market right now. It's going to go up. Now, obviously, the sad part about BigBear right now is if they had at least come in close quarters of beating that last quarterly, if they had just come close, BigBear undoubtedly would be probably an $8 to $10 stock right now because people would feel comfortable, even if they didn't beat the quarterly. If they'd at least hit 38, 39 million in revenue, we'd be fine. Okay, we'd be fine. Problem is, we did not, and they lost money. Okay, but the main thing that is on everyone's mind right now is that can they get more, deals with airports? Can they get more deals with our defense contracts, or can they just get some new form of business? That would be great too. They don't have a lot of customers, so if they can branch out into more customers, that's going to be great. A lot what of Soundhound has been doing the past year. So that's really what I would love to see kind of bleed into Big Bear here. Yeah, I don't look at Big Bear like it's like a, one and done stock. Big Bear has fooled us many times before. It's only going to take one more nice little deal, even just to get the, get the wheels spinning here again, get the excitement up with Big Bear. Listen, Big Bear has something that obviously the United States government wants, they like, other companies are starting to pick up on, starting to see. Things could definitely get more aggressive here with Big Bear. That's what we hope. I still stand strong. The main thing that I wanted to see with Big Bear by the end of this year is that the stock would remain somewhere around a $5 to $6 share price. Well, pretty much there. And the biggest thing too is that they would at least start hitting quarterlies. I'm really hoping they can hit a quarterly here. That would be amazing if they could hit a quarterly. So, friends, what a day. I'll be back yapping my gums tomorrow. I can't thank you enough all for if you're still watching. I can't thank you enough. I really do mean that. I wish everyone well in the market. I want to see everyone succeed and feel the feeling of winning against the market. It's such a great feeling. Friends, take care of yourself. I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.